Welcome back to the Shreveport Connection with Tommy. And this report will be about TNA results for this week. And we're off. But first, I'm going to give you some news from TNA. Hulk Hogan made a comment from his Facebook / Twitter account. And he quotes by saying, "Did I mention that Impact tapings start going on the road for every other taping sometime in August?" Unquote, Hulk Hogan. Well, Desmond Wolfe has been removed from Impact Wrestling's roster page, and this is often an indication that a wrestler has parted ways with the TNA Wrestling Company. But it's not TNA Wrestling anymore, it's Impact Wrestling. Well, Desmond Wolfe has been sidelined for in-ring competition since September due to a medical leave. He resurfaced on TNA programming last month as the commissioner of Explosion. Well, that lasted 1 week. And for the second consecutive year, TNA Women's Knockout Champion Mickie James will be wrestling at the World Wrestling Council, WWC, anniversary show in Bayamon, Puerto Rico, which takes place Saturday, July 16th. Information is available at superestrelaswwc.com. Final wrestlers announced for BFG Series, Bound for Glory Series, TNA Stars Challenge, Internet Geeks. On tonight's episode of Impact Wrestling on Spike, the first ever Bound for Glory Series will be officially announced. There will be 12 superstars participating in this competition, all leading to the Bound for Glory pay-per-view event in October. Well, these are not just on TV, these are house shows. Just about anything TNA does. Well, here's your 12. The Pope, D'Angelo De Niro, Bobby Roode, Samoa Joe are the final 3 wrestlers to be announced for the competition. Other 9 wrestlers scheduled for the tournament are Rob Van Dam, AJ Styles, Gunner, Bully Ray, Crimson, James Storm, Matt Morgan, Brother Devon, and Scott Steiner. Okay, TNA wrestler Crimson is upset with the host of an internet wrestling podcast criticizing his ability to throw a worked punch. After watching his match with Samoa Joe last Sunday at Slammiversary, he challenges them over the internet to take one of his punches to prove that his wrestling ones aren't bad. Well, Crimson wrote on Twitter, "I dare one of those 2 internet geeks to take one of my punches," unquote. He thanked his followers for their support, writing, quote, "Thanks for the tweet and support, you guys are the best. To the haters hiding behind the computers, thank you too. The world needs douchebags," unquote. Guess what? Jeff Jarrett captured a heavyweight title last week. Jeff Jarrett won the heavyweight championship of Mexico last week at Triple Mania by beating El Zorro with Karen in his corner. Other Impact Wrestling stars were also at Triple Mania, show promoted by AAA, including Mr. Anderson, RVD, Abyss, Velvet Sky, Mickie James, and Angelina Love. Well, Jeff Jarrett defeated El Zorro to become the new AAA heavyweight champion at last week's Triple Mania show in Mexico. Other matches with TNA stars saw Sexy Star, Angelina Love, Velvet Sky, and Mickie James defeat Fabi Apache, Lolita, and Cynthia Marino. Dr. Wagner Jr. defeated RVD with a AAA Latin America title on the line. Jack Evans and Extreme Tiger beat Mr. Anderson and Abyss. Well, Jack Evans is coming to TNA. Jack Evans and Extreme Tiger beat Mr. Anderson and Abyss with the AAA tag titles on the line. Robert Roode returning to action on this past Friday night's TNA Live event in Toronto, Canada, as Beer Money defeated British Invasion. Roode said he wasn't cleared to wrestle in the United States, but this was Canada, and his doctors here had cleared him to wrestle. It was said that James Storm did most of the work in the match anyways. Also at the Toronto Live event, Scott Steiner defeated Matt Morgan in a Bound for Glory Series match, according to a fan. The Saturday Night live event in Buffalo saw Matt Morgan beat the Pope and Gunner beat AJ Styles in the Battle for Glory series. It was announced to the fans at the show that both matches would be airing on Thursday's Impact Wrestling. So these matches will be probably just highlights in the matches. Despite earlier reports, Okada has not been released from TNA and remains with the company. TNA is expected to part ways with several talents in the upcoming weeks. The All Wheels Wrestling promotion has released 4 team names for their tapings that begin next month, which is in the Impact Zone. Well, these team names are Team 20, Team Dino, Team Octane, and Team Defiance. Entrance music and logos for each team is available on their Facebook. I haven't found their Facebook account yet, but whenever I do, I'll let you people know too. It sounds like the teams will be the main part of the AEW's concept. They wrote the following on their page. Much like in racing, working together as a team is a big point of emphasis for the wrestlers of there it is. Pound All Wheels Wrestling. So look that up on your Twitter accounts as well as your Facebook accounts. Okay, Jay Lethal will reportedly wrestle for AEW under the JR Lethal name, while Sanjay Dutt will perform as Swag Dutt. Former WWE stars Aaron Aguilera and Daivari are also rumored to be on the roster. Universal Studios Orlando issued a letter to people on their TNA Wrestling mailing list regarding an upcoming All Wheels Wrestling television taping taking place this week at Universal Studios at South Stage 21 on Wednesday, June 29th. Talent noted appearing included JR Lethal, Swag Dutt, Human Cyclone, Awesome Air Aguilera, who is formerly known as Jesus. All Wheels Wrestling promotion is taping television on June 29th at the TNA Impact Zone in Orlando, Florida. The taping is a pilot for the Speed Network and will feature 4 teams of wrestlers. The names are Team 720, Team Octane, and Team Dino, and the 4th team will be revealed on Monday. Well, I just gave you all the team names a while ago. Talent listed for promotion: JR Lethal, Swag Dutt, Aaron Aguilera, more are to come. Former WWE diva Shelly Martinez, TNA Knockout winner, appear in the Electrolytes music video, Miss Out of Control video, and you can catch that at Ringside News /Carrier LP /video /Electrolytes Miss Outa OUTTA Control. Former WWE Women's Champion Trish Stratus was also backstage at TNA Wrestling Live event at the Ricoh Coliseum in Toronto, Ontario. As Stratus lives nearby and was visiting former WWE peers such as Mickie James and Tara, who now work for the organization. Stratus indicated on her Twitter account that Mickie James, Tara, and Winter slept over at her house that evening. The next match for the first ever Battle for Glory series featured Bully Ray versus Scott Steiner. Match took place this past week. This episode of Impact Wrestling. Irene and Matt Morgan currently lead the series with 7 points apiece. Brian Kendrick competed at New Japan Wrestling pay-per-view event Dominion Saturday in Osaka, Japan. He teamed with Gedo and Jado in a tag match against Jushin Thunder Liger, Yujiro Kushida, and Tiger Mask 4. The TNA star scored the win for his team after hitting sliced bread number 2. Official website of Miss Tessmacher is misstessmacher.com. And she confirmed that the TNA Knockout has launched an account on Twitter. Her account is located at twitter.com/BrookeAdamsTNA. She noted that she's in South Beach, Florida for the Miss Hooters International Pageant, which she was competing in. While TNA is currently pushing themselves hard as Impact Wrestling, the company is still officially TNA Wrestling and their parent company is still TNA Entertainment. TNA still exists. They're just focusing on rebranding themselves as Impact Wrestling now. Well, according to their website, it is ImpactWrestling.com. Matt Hardy wrote following on his Twitter a couple of days ago, quote, between dates, injuries, and outside issues, I'm going to have a few weeks off, and I'm ecstatic. The Matt Hardy movement is going into full effect. Well, he was not at TNA Impact Wrestling tapings last week, as he is not at this week's. Well, currently he is suspended from Impact Wrestling, as reported on Thursday's .net weekly audio show. The word within TNA was that Hardy was left off the show due to showing up late to live events, and because people within the company were happy about the taser video that he posted online on The Hardy Show, among other reasons. Matt has not acknowledged those factors when addressing why he wasn't at the tapings through Twitter, but he's guessing he'll post his version of the story soon enough. I assume he'll be back at the next set of taping, which he was not. And he says nothing is official. Take this for what it may be, as he has been reportedly been late to many TNA events, similar to his brother in WWE years ago. Well, Brutus Beefcake was hanging out backstage at TNA show in Buffalo last week. Presumably, he was traveling with Hulk Hogan. Incidentally, Hogan wrote on Twitter yesterday that he bumped into Lanny Poffo at the Tampa airport, and noted Poffo gave him a big hug. TNA has reportedly released Okada from his contract. Well, that was his last match. He worked with Samoa Joe in his feud with the Pope. Current storyline with Angelina Love being under the spell of winter is scheduled to go through the fall. Gunner noted on Twitter that he had to get 10 stitches in his head after Mr. Anderson hit him in the head with a pitcher of beer on last Thursday's Impact Wrestling tapings. Well, the winner of the TNA Bound for Glory series will receive a World Heavyweight Championship title shot in the main event at the pay-per-view. Matches in the series can take place at Impact tapings, pay-per-view events, and TNA live events, and can be singles, tag team, or other types of matches. And to get the points, you've got to be the winner and the one who gets the submission, pinfall, or count, or whatever they stipulate it as. Wrestlers will receive 10 points for a submission victory, 7 points for a pinfall victory, 5 points for count out, 3 points for a DQ victory, 2 points for a draw, and will lose 10 points for a DQ loss. RVD defeated Samoa Joe on Thursday's show to earn 7 points. At the end of the series, the final four will face off to crown a winner and the number one contender for the Bound for Glory main event. As noted before, wrestlers in the series are RVD, Samoa Joe, Brother Ray, Scott Steiner, Jay Storm, Robert Roode, Gunner, Crimson, AJ Styles, the Pope, Brother Devon, and Matt Morgan. Well, again, I messed up there's supposed to be a video promo or whatever it is on Sting's newest movie that has already been out. Well, Sting stars in a new Christian movie called The Encounter. It was released earlier this month on DVD. He told the Baltimore Sun the following about the movie. It's about 5 people traveling down a road, similar to wrestling. And due to weather, they all get stuck. They end up at a diner, which maybe 1 or 2 of them saw. And the rest of them never did. Well, they go into the diner. They have an encounter with a guy named Jesus, who actually ends up being Jesus Christ. He meets each one of us where we are in our lives. We're all then forced with a choice to make, either accept him or not. It really covers pretty much every walk, every person who has that choice. Okay, let me write that down real quick. As I talk, the trailer is found on youtube.com/embed youtube.com/IMDAER, that's capital ER, X J JFCK question mark REL been related equals 0 quotation frame border equals quotation 0 frame border quotation allow full screen so you can see the video. And here it is for those who can see it and read it. There you go. Sorry about my sloppy writing. Okay, new details on the 4 teams for the All Wheels Wrestling. Aguilera's nickname. All Wheels Wrestling, the group that Jeff Jarrett is involved with, has released the following description for their 4 teams of wrestlers. AWW will tape their first show this week as a pilot for the Speed Network. This week from the Impact Zone in Orlando. No word on yet what wrestlers will be on the teams, but as noted this morning, Jay Lethal will reportedly wrestle under his JR Lethal name, while Sanjay Dutt performs as Swag Dutt. Former stars Aaron Aguilera and DeVary, also rumored for promotion. And Aguilera is going under the name also Aaron Aguilera. Team Octane. The members of the Team Octane are All-American, inspired by the stock car, open wheel, and drag racing series. These men know what it takes to entertain a crowd and wrestle at full tilt. This team has the bravado to talk their way out of any situation, but prefers to settle conflicts like men in the ring. They're all odds-on favorite to win AWW Championship Cup. Team 720, inspired by the X Games. Team 720 comes straight out of a video game. Their inspiration is BMX, snowboarding, and skateboarding. They love the high-risk aspect of wrestling. They are willing to push it to the limit and beyond. Team Dino, big, bad, powerful. Some people don't like the way these muscleheads handle their business, but when you've got it at the tip of your fingers and all the horsepower that motocross, dirt track, monster truck drivers have, who's going to have their balls to tell you no? Team Defiance. These guys get their own way and they won't take no for an answer. Inspired by inspirational style of racing, these men aren't afraid to question the status quo. They will go to any means necessary to stay on top of the Championship Cup leaderboard. Sting discusses WWE, the match with Jeff Hardy, and doing movies and more. Sting recently spoke with Baltimore Sun. And here's the highlights. Do you have any more film projects in the works? It's so tough because all the wrestling schedule, I've had to pass on a couple of other projects with some really good people, but I'm looking forward to doing some more. But yes, I know that I will have time coming up here and there. I'd like to do a whole bunch more. There's a lot of adult content on Impact Wrestling. As a man of faith, it's a concern. It is a concern for you to be on that type of show. Absolutely, no question about it. This is something that many Christians will use as their ace in the hole, and I'll use it. But I'm not going to use it in a real loose way. And that is that Jesus Christ himself went in amongst with the sinners of the world, the murderers, the adulterers, the idolaters, and the drunkards, and so on and so forth. And he didn't come to judge them. He came to save them. Be a doctor to them. I'm not putting myself on that level, obviously, but at the same time, we are in the world. We are not of the world. If we are believers, I'm not going to put myself in a shell It's just not going to work that way. You have to get out there somehow or somehow or another and try to be a light or be the salt of the earth. And that's all I've tried to do. As far as the content goes, I will only involve myself in situations that will not jeopardize my walk or my witness. You won't hear vulgar things coming out of my mouth or sexual innuendos and all that kind of stuff. In your current storyline with Hulk Hogan, it almost seems as if there are religious overtones as far as you trying to save the Hulk Hogan character and get him back on the right path. Is that the case, or am I reading too much into it? You know, there's probably a thread of that in there for sure. Most of the storylines do have some sort of redemption quality to them. Vince Russo is writing a lot of this stuff, and many people may not know this, but he is also a believer. He writes with that kind of flair. The other thing, too, is I really believe that because of the nostalgia of Hulk Hogan, you know, he made an appearance on American Idol and got a huge, gigantic reaction. Wrestling fans all over the place would love to see the storyline for real. And I think I want to see him come back and just be Hulk. I'd like to see it. What was your reaction when WWE began airing the mysterious vignettes earlier this year that turned out to be for The Undertaker's return, but initially had a lot of wrestling fans believing that the videos signaled that you were coming to WWE for to face The Undertaker at WrestleMania? And the second part of my question is, did the WWE contact you to come in and do something at that point? I'll answer the second part first. Yes, I was contacted by WWE people. The vignettes, I can honestly tell you that I do not understand that one even now, unless it was some kind of deal where they were just trying to test the waters. I really don't know, because so many people were saying, I hope it's Sting, I hope it's Sting. I thought, gosh, I wonder if they're going to shoot themselves in the foot, thereby making this choice. Well, because of things do not work out, where do they do it to begin with? Why do they do it to begin with? I had all kinds of things through my head, but yeah, I was very, very close to going up there, and I believe there probably wouldn't have been something with Undertaker. That was a word, at least. And what are your thoughts on what went down with the night that you faced Jeff Hardy at Victory Road pay-per-view? I want to be careful with my words here because I really like Jeff Hardy. I'm hoping he can come back because that guy is so talented. But he has personal issues in his life, and it just became too much for him, too overwhelming, and he just couldn't cope. And he didn't know how to handle it. So he made some bad choices, and he's having to deal with those choices and the consequences now. I hear he's doing much better. Last I heard, he was riding his bike 10 miles a day and just trying to get into shape, and as his life was getting in some kind of order. You said in the past that you intend to retire several times, but every year when your contract comes up in TNA, you get talked into staying for another year at this point. How much longer do you plan to continue wrestling? You know, you're right. I think I've said every year for at least the last 4 years that this will be my last. And I'm speaking the same way again now. I think I've smartened up a little bit. When I know it's done, I'll know it's done. I'm going to go as long as I can, but honestly, wherever I whether I want to or not, I cannot see going too much farther. And that was the end of his thing. Okay, TNA reached out to 6 talents who worked for the New Urban Wrestling Federation about working for the Destination X pay-per-view. And or All Wheels Wrestling Group, thus the AWW show, the UWF wrestlers are under contract through 2011, so they can't work for TNA. Homicide is one of those stars with UWF. Well, He just recently left Ring of Honor and a possible injury. Despite previous reports, second-generation talent Dakota Darso has not signed with an actual contract yet. He worked last the Impact Wrestling tapings under a per-shot deal. TNA announced the next Thursday's Impact, being this week, limited commercial interruption with a promotion with 5-hour energy. Following matches have been announced for next week's show, which will take Monday night, that was tonight, in Orlando. And here's what they are. Confrontation with Sting and Hulk Hogan. Gunner versus AJ Styles and Samoa Joe versus Devon in Bound for Glory series. Mickie James, Tara, and Miss Tessmacher versus winner Madison Rayne and Angelina Love. Another 3-way exhibition match with returning stars competing for Destination X pay-per-view spot. It's been confirmed that Jack Evans, Homicide, Low-Key, Matt Bentley, and Jimmy Wang Yang are backstage at tonight's Impact Wrestling tapings. But they were not used. So, expect them tomorrow to be used in some sort of way. All are expected to be in action at tonight or tomorrow's night's taping, as they were not in tonight's taping at all, as they go into the Destination X pay-per-view. Word at the courthouse in Moore County, North Carolina today was that Jeff Hardy's court case will be pushed back to Thursday of this week. Due to other cases on today's docket, they didn't have time to do it. So we're still waiting on the official word. Batista made comments on Twitter today regarding TNA Wrestling. Keep getting asked about a possible TNA run, and the answer is absolutely not. Nothing against TNA. They've got some great talent. But even though I don't agree with the direction they've taken, I bleed WWE. Which is why I've decided to sit it out rather than accept very generous offers from the promotion. Hope everyone can respect that. And that's all he had to say. And TNA will be taping more episodes of Impact Wrestling this week from the Impact Zone, and so will AWW. With the final build-up for the Destination X pay-per-view. At tonight's tapings, TNA reportedly brings back 3 former X Division stars. They said that one of those wrestlers is Low-Key. Well, who was Low-Key? Caval. The former Caval in WWE. Tuesday, tomorrow night's taping is expected those 3 new wrestlers will make their debuts. One of those debuting stars is to be Jack Evans. Evans is a current AAA Cruiserweight and Tag Team Champion and has competed for Dragon Gate, Ring of Honor, and Wrestling Society X. Among others, Evans had a brief stint with TNA back in 2004 during the World X Cup. In addition to Bobby Lashley being booked for Antonio Inoki's IGF on August 27th, he is also coming in to face Josh Barnett at the Tokyo Dome City Hall on July 10th. That's my dad's birthday. Well, he passed away several years ago. And that's that. Chris Hero comes to Lafayette, Indiana on July 2nd for a wrestling seminar. And the seminar is $30 at the price of the seminar. Email Billy Rock. And that's BILLYROC at live.com for details. Millennium Wrestling Federation has announced Carlito, the Monster Abyss, Black Machismo, Jay Lethal, and Ox Baker for their 10th anniversary bash at Memorial Hall in Melrose, Massachusetts. Fayetteville Observer newspaper reports that a judge in Moore County, North Carolina, was scheduled to hear the results of whether Hardy should be accepted into a drug addiction program to replace jail time on today. However, the hearing was rescheduled due to courtroom scheduling conflicts. Warren McSweeney, the assistant district attorney, says Judge James Webb put the case on standby, and Hardy will be called back to court on this Thursday. Hardy's drug case was continued in April after a drug counselor became involved in the case to assess whether Hardy should undergo a drug treatment program. The assessment was at the initial stages, which caused the case to be continued to June. Hardy's latest court development stems from his September 2009 arrest for alleged drug possession. Hardy was formally indicted on felony and misdemeanor charges on January 2010, setting in motion a series of court continuances. The list of felony and misdemeanor charges Hardy is faced with is in the following. Count 1, felony drug trafficking. 2 felony charges of possession of a Schedule III controlled substance or drug. Count 2, felony possession of cocaine. Felony maintaining a dwelling for redistribution of controlled substances. Count 3, misdemeanor possession of drug paraphernalia. Count 4, conspiracy to traffic opium, newly added as of January 2010. More court news. Ric Flair has paid up $35,000 he owed to highspots.com for a whatever he owed him for. As the website posted on their Facebook page, quote, letting our own social media get the scoop. We have finally been paid by Ric Flair for the debt dating back years ago. No jail time for Nate. Whichever angel pitched in the money for him, thank you. Unquote. Well, Rhino is expected back with Ring of Honor as part of the embassy down the line. Christopher Daniels officially finished up with Ring of Honor last night. Homicide suffered a cracked rib during a match with Rhino. He may also be done with the company, as he is contracted with the Urban Wrestling Federation, and Ring of Honor is looking to lock talent up for contracts. Okay. Luke Gallows will be part of the tornado relief fundraiser at the Armory in Jackson, Georgia on August 20th, 2011. Starting time is 7 p.m. Tickets cost $10. Go to cprwrestling.tk for full info about the event. Credit goes to Devin Cutting. Gallows had a tryout with TNA at last week's Impact tapings. No word on if he was offered a deal with the company. For those interested, you can see the photos here. There's one of the photos. And I'll drop my mouse. Okay, let me click. There's only like three photos. And these are in-ring pictures. There's a match. Some action that he did in a match. And one more picture. And I believe he was going up against Gunner. That's all 3 of them. Oh, there's one more. And there's another picture of them. More wide view, I guess. Alright, that's all the pictures for him. So that was 4 pictures. Okay, let's see. Jack Evans, Homicide, Low Key, Matt Bentley, and Jimmy Wayne Gang were all backstage at TNA Impact tapings. As of this writing, all these talents are expected to take part in tomorrow night's taping since they were not involved in tonight's. They will be used at Destination X pay-per-view as well. No word on who will be used tonight, and we will be used tomorrow whenever I do my next video tomorrow night. Hulk Hogan, and here we go with Impact for this week. Hulk Hogan and TNA champion Mr. Anderson cutting a promo when Sting arrived. Sting has new face paint derived from the Heath Ledger's version of the Joker. Sting ends up nailing Hogan with a bat. Well, I believe I have two reports on this, so this is a little report on the first one. Samoa Joe defeated Devon Dudley with a Muscle Buster. An X Division tournament bout, low key, so I guess they were used, defeated Matt Bentley and Jimmy Wang Yang. So all three were used in a match. Mexican America cut a promo, only to be challenged by British Invasion, setting up a future bout. Might be next week, might be pay-per-view. Just a future bout. Well, Mickie James, Tara, and Miss Tessmacher defeated Madison Rayne, Winter, and Angelina Love in their match. They hold a contract signing for AJ Styles versus Christopher Daniels for Destination X pay-per-view. Jerry Lynn and Rob Van Dam came out, and it sets up a tag match for next week. Yes, they're giving Lynn versus RVD for the first time in years away free on TV. But yet it's a tag match. Sting pins Scott Steiner. Anderson and Hogan attack Sting afterwards. And Kurt Angle made a save, and that ends the first report. Okay, and this is again, this airs on June the 30th. Thanks to Rob who sent this in for TNA spoilers for this week in Orlando. That airs this Thursday. Samoa Joe defeated Devon in what was a Bound for Glory series match. Then they had the segment with Mr. Anderson and Hulk Hogan. Sting interrupted, hit Hogan with a bat and played the Joker role. So I guess he did a signature laugh too. Returning, low key to beat Jimmy Wang Yang and Matt Bentley in a three-way. British Invasion turned face on Mexican America, and a match is announced for next week between the two teams. There you go. Then you have the 6 knockout elimination tag. What? When Mickie wins for her team of Miss Tessmacher and Tara against Angelina Love, Winter and Madison Rayne. So that's why you get to always look for more than one report. AJ Styles and Daniel signed their contract for Destination X. Jerry Lynn came out, which brought out RVD. A 4-way is announced for next week. Okay, so you got a fatal 4-way instead of the 2-on-2 from the last thing. And your main event was Sting beating Scott Steiner. Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson attacks Sting after the match, which brought out Hulk Hogan to join in the melee. Kurt Angle made the save to end the show. And that ends your TNA taping for June the 30th.